Hi, my name is Natalie and I've been teaching and practicing tantric meditations for the past 10 years. And I help people understand the emotional blockages underneath the physical blockages that we're dealing with in sex and in relationships and in our life in general. Today I wanted to talk about the first chakra, which is the anus or the butthole, or however you want to call it. I call it the anus because it's just easier for me that way to talk about it, and I feel like it's the most neutral word for it. But it is the first chakra for both men and for women, and it can be a very pleasurable area of the body that we can bring into our sexual activities, but not just for pure pleasure. But because it is the first chakra, it has a lot of energy and emotions blocked in that area in the body. We all do. And sometimes doing exercises with the anus can help release tension in life in general. And I know this might sound strange, and I know that a lot of you might be watching my channel and my videos in order to improve your sex life or to correct different dysfunctions in your sex life. And I must, as a disclaimer, say that the actual thing that I teach is meditation and emotional healing and working with the energies and opening up the chakras and activating our kundalini, which is the life force energy. So if you're here purely for, how can I improve my sex life? I'm not a sex expert. I'm not a sexologist. I don't really know how you can improve your sex life, but I do know how you can start to work with your body in a different way that can enhance the pleasure that you experience in sex, but it can also enhance the pleasure you experience in life in general. So a lot of the tension that we carry and the stress that we carry, it's in our thoughts and it's in our brains, and it's like all these anxious, the chitter that we have inside of our head. But energetically, all that stress is actually contained, and I would guess you could say stuck in our first chakra. And the first chakra is the anus. In modern Western world, there is a big taboo around the anus. If you're gay, fine, but if you're straight, it's like a big no-no. I'm guessing my generation and people recently have been more open towards talking about it and using it in sexual experiences. Yoga talks a lot about the first chakra and the anus, but it's still a bit of a taboo. And I know because when I talk to straight men about it, they kind of at first are like, ugh. So why do I talk to men about their anus? I'm not obsessed with that area of the body in any way. But when we're talking about energies and chakras, it is the first chakra. It's the base chakra, and it's where a lot of our stress is stored. And it's also it's an area of the body that we tend to neglect. And because we neglect that area of our body, a lot of things get stuck there and we don't even know that they're there, and a lot of tension gets stuck there, and it creates a disconnect from who we are, from our animalistic nature, and from our life force and our life energy that actually generates from the first chakra, which is inside the anus. So the reason that I talk to men about this, well, there's a few reasons. The first reason is a lot of men, when they're masturbating and when they're having sex, the anus is very clenched tight. And if you think about it like a pipe, so the end of your penis and then all the way up to our brain, it's like the channel where all the chakras are. It's kind of like a pipe, if you can imagine it in your head. And then from the end of the penis to the anus, so the sexual energy is starting to fill up in the penis and the lingam. But here, there's a blockage and the anus is clenched very tight. So all the energy at one point, it doesn't have anywhere to go, and it's going to be ejaculated outside of our body because all the tension here is preventing the sexual energy, or energy in general, it's preventing it from going up the spine, and instead it's going outside of the lingam. So the first reason why we want to start paying more attention to our first chakra and to our anus is because it is blocking the energy inside of our body, and it's blocking it from going up and dispersing throughout our entire body. And it's one of the main reasons why so many of these ejaculations are happening, even if we don't want them to happen. It's blocking the sexual energy inside of our body. So when masturbating, when having sex, try to release your butthole. And you can do that if you practice day to day, like on a daily basis, clench, release, clench, release, clench, release. And we want to start strengthening the muscles in that area. I must say that when we talk about the muscles, we're talking about all the muscles in our second chakra, lower abdomen, all the internal muscles that are helping us, hold in the things we need to do in the bathroom until we can get to a bathroom. All of these muscles we want to strengthen, and it does affect the anus and the butthole, which is part of all the muscles there. So we want to strengthen them in order to be able to release when we have sexual energy in our body. It would be easier to practice it without sexual energy, just like going to the gym. And then when you do practice it with sexual energy, it might be a lot easier for you to do there. When the body is full of sexual energy, or when the lingam is full of sexual energy, and we release the butthole, what we are allowing the energy to do is go up the spine instead of out. And if we add breathing techniques to it, and like we breathe in and release, breathe out, clench, breathe in, release. So when we learn how to do that, when we exercise that on a daily basis, when we have sex or when we masturbate, we can do the same thing when there's sexual energy in our body. And then instead of being ejaculated outside, it's going to go up. So that's one important reason why we should start paying attention to our anus. It is it's the part of our body which is like the most disgusting. We go number 2 from there, and it's not necessarily an aesthetic area of our body. But because it's so crucial for the energetic flow, and because it is, even health-wise, it's an important area that we want to keep clean and healthy and strong and, in shape. So besides the energetic issue of this, like when we raise sexual energy, open up the anus so that the energy can go up, it is a very important part of our body. I don't know if you know this, but when we're in the womb, there is one point where we are just the rectum. So we all started out as assholes, and the asshole does proceed to become one of the most important areas in our body. We take it for granted because, we eat and go to the bathroom, and we just do it. It's just something that we do, and we take it for granted. But believe me, when things start to go wrong in that area of the body, you're going to regret not, paying more attention, because it is such an important part of our day-to-day lives. And, I'm not talking men or women, but it's an area where we're not too hygienic, unfortunately, which we should be. And we should be washing the area every time we go to the toilet. To number 2, we should be washing the area, not cleaning it with the toilet paper. If you had a bit of poo on your forehead, you wouldn't clean it with toilet paper. You would wash it with soap. Why are we not cleaning our buttholes like we need to? And all the hair that's there with all the dirt and all the things coming out, and the area just becomes disgusting. And it doesn't have to be. It's a natural area of our body. It's an important area of our body, and we want to start loving that area of our body instead of being disgusted by it. And for that, we might have to take steps. Maybe we can remove the hair in that area. Maybe we can start washing ourselves every time we go for number 2. That's the reason why I do number 2 at home, so I can wash myself every time afterwards. And then once it's clean and nice, maybe we can touch it a little bit. We can just place our finger on top of it. Maybe we can place our finger inside of it. We don't have to go all the way in. I know that the prostate and like the G-spot for men is inside the tunnel, so you can go in if you want to touch it and see how that feels, but that's not really what I'm talking about in this video. It's more about becoming familiar and becoming friendly with that area of our body. It's especially right for men, but also for women. And I think part of the Western world conspiracy of controlling us by depleting us from all our life energy, I think part of that conspiracy is also disconnecting us from our body and from our natural body. And when we're not connected to our body and it kind of disgusts us or scares us, then whenever something happens to our body, we're just going to go to someone else to fix it because, we're not connected to our body and it's disgusting and ugh. And then we rely on other people to fix our own body, which is very, very strange. If you told that to someone like 200-300 years ago, they would be like, you're crazy. We're the ones who can heal ourselves. We're the ones who, when connected to our body, can maintain a healthy inner environment by ourselves. We don't need anyone else to fix our body. We don't need anyone else to do things to our body in order to be healthy. I'm not talking about like emergency issues and, You know, there are some places where modern medicine saves lives and it's a miracle. But for a lot of the internal issues and the day-to-day things that we have, I think we rely on outside sources way too much, and we can start to connect to our body and become healthier without any outside interference. And this is right for our general health and for our sexual health in particular. So it's an area of the body we want to pay more attention to. We want to clean it. We want to clean it after we go for number 2. And we also want to start to involve it in our sexual activity. But, you know, as we're not talking about masturbation, but we're talking about meditation with the sexual energy. So when we do the meditation with the sexual energy and we're touching ourselves, can we try and touch that area of our body? Maybe just at beginning, like really quick touches, see how it feels, place your finger there, see how it feels. If you've placed your finger there, clench and release and see if it actually moves, or if you just think you're doing the clench and release, but actually nothing's moving there. I want to say that at first, people do the clench and release and nothing moves, and even if you put your finger there, you won't feel anything because the muscles there are very weak. But if you keep on practicing a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, after a while, when you put your finger there, you will feel something moving, the clench and the release. It's going to become stronger and stronger the more you practice. Then when we have good, strong muscles there, we have a healthy connection with that area of our body, it's physically clean, then we can start doing all of these things when we have sexual energy activated in our body, whether we're by ourselves or whether we are with a woman. And I only have good things to say about this area of the body. I know it used to disgust me like anyone else. And part of my healing journey, I practiced a lot of naked yoga in a class with a lot of other people. And it was a dark room and we were with our eyes closed, but the nakedness was part of the yoga. And a lot of, you know, I remember the first few times that the teacher told us to put a finger on our butthole. I thought that was like strange and I'm out of there. But I stayed and I did it, and it slowly, gradually changed my life because it opened up this whole new world of like, what's going on in my body? Like, why am I not connected to everything that's going on here? And it opened that door for me, and now I'm not disgusted by it. And I actually think it's a very important part of our body that we need to reconnect to from a healthy, loving way. And I think that it's something that if we do, it can start to give us back our power on our body and our health. And, you know, the only way that we're going to have power in life is if we are connected to ourselves and connected to our body in a loving way. And that's the way we get our power back. And otherwise it's just going to be in the hands of other people, and we're going to be like drifting in the wind to other people's tunes, and I don't like that. And I'm very independent and I'm a free thinker, so I have to understand things and ask questions. And I asked a lot of questions around the first chakra, a lot of physical questions, and I've checked it and explored it, and I teach this to other people and they do it at home and it changes stuff. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. And if you like this video, there are plenty more on my channel. You're more than welcome to subscribe. These are the topics I like to talk about. And as you can see, it's always a combination of like healing work, emotional work, meditation, and sexuality, because I believe they're connected. And if we approach them in this way, we can actually create change in our lives and heal ourselves in the most darkest places that exist, which is our sexuality, unfortunately. But let's hope that we can bring a bit more light to this issue and this topic. And I know there are a lot of like AI channels. I'm not AI, I'm an actual real human being. So yeah, if you like my channel, please subscribe, and I'll see you soon in my next video.